Tonight, I'm going to be talking about why it's unhealthy to go from relationship to relationship. And I would know about that. And, for you all out there that maybe don't know this about me, I did do a video, I don't know, about a year ago. A little glimpse of it is I've been alone now for 2 years. Not dating at all. I've not been with anyone. And actually, it's a really good thing. It's been a great thing. It's been the best thing I've ever done for myself. So, I just want to share that because I'm trying to help somebody else. We could go really deep into this, but, I'll try to skim the surface somewhat. And the bottom line, it would have to do with being in toxic relationships. And I hope I haven't burst anyone's bubble here. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. We all have our struggles, all have our things that we go through in life, and we all have our lessons that we have to learn. I think the key is that you do learn, that you do make your life better. You don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and expect a different outcome. And unfortunately, that's how it has been for me, but that's the past. That's not going to be now because I've learned, and I'm just going to get a quick drink. What I want to say is, the whole time, with all my past mistakes, I was always trying to learn. I was trying to learn even then. I know. I read books, I read self-help books, and when I knew things were rocky in relationships and I would get out of them because they weren't good, I would do research, read books. However, I still would end up in another situation like that. So I guess I had to figure out, what was the common denominator, especially when I was trying not to repeat and make the same mistakes. Okay? So, I'll get a little bit more into that with you in just a moment. Alright, so I think it is normal for everybody to want love and to want to be with somebody. That is normal. Who doesn't want that? I think we're made for that. We're made to want that in life. So that's a good thing. The thing I would say is, if you've had unsuccessful relationships or toxic relationships that didn't work, or relationships that were just very unhappy because of unhealthy things and unhealthy patterns, you need to figure out why. Why did you get in those and what was it? So the first thing I'd say, because, there's a lot to that, but the first thing I'd say is that's one good reason right there why you need to be alone after you've gotten out of a relationship, whether it be good or not. Let's say you have to do. And I do remember back then, you'd have a friend here and there tell you, well, you need to probably be alone for a while. Go for a while. I would think to myself in my head, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I want to be with somebody. That's how it was. And, people can tell you that, but I wish somebody back then would have told me why you shouldn't do that. They just say you shouldn't do that. But, it's good to know the reasons why. Can make more sense. So, I've been married twice. I don't know if you've heard that before in videos. 2 times. And we won't get into the dynamics of that at this point, because it would be too long of a video, and maybe I'll do another one, maybe, I don't know. But we're on this subject. So, I'm going to share with you a poem. There's a reason behind it, because, oh my gosh, when I look at this poem now, as much as I think it's a good poem, it's being in an onset of a new relationship, and I look at it now and I say, look at the poem and think, what a joke that relationship was. None of it was true. None of it. Not one word. It was on my part. It was how I felt, but it wasn't real. He wasn't real. He was fake, you know? And that's, fake people are toxic people. Fake is toxic. If someone's fake, not authentic, not real, and this is 2009, so, you know, I'm not like in that mad at the person mode. I'm long over that stuff. But people who are fake are not good for a relationship. People who aren't authentic. Why would you want someone who's fake and not authentic? You'll never be happy with them. But, so, you're going to be able to tell by this poem that I thought very highly of this person, but it wasn't real. So, just to hear it, okay? And then we'll get back. It pertains to the subject. So, I wrote it October 2009. Now, let me just tell you real quick when I met this person. So, let me tell you when I met this person. So, I was out of my second marriage, and I had left that marriage. It was toxic, chaotic, yeah, just very dysfunctional, and I couldn't take it anymore. So anyway, so, you know I had it in my mind that I wanted to meet somebody. So, here we go. So, this was the person I met not too long, a couple months after, you know, being out of my marriage. Okay, October 2009. It's called, I titled it then, The Season of Hope. Okay, here we go. It was the onset of summer when she encountered an unforeseen meeting. He smiled most sincerely, however, it was an acquaintance she was not seeking. When correspondence was made, she felt unresolved and ambivalent, though the ensuing dialogue between them made him her equivalent. The first evening together, though premature in the making, an openness disclosed and a risk worth taking. A man who is not only virtuous, but benevolent and kind, and paralleled in character and arduous to find. A passionate, vital spark, and a man of emotion who kindles her fire. Sorry, I didn't say that one right. A passionate, vital spark, and a man of emotion who kindles her fire in an avid devotion. Mere poetic declaration is matchless for her fervent and fiery emotion that is authentic and real and much more than a notion. As a new season unfolds with the vibrancy of fall, her optimism is heightened as she perceives no flaw. She reminisces about their adventures and the time spent together, yet remains confident and full of hope for the future together. As she feels auspicious and fortunate for their unplanned encounter, it was the season of hope, and he was happy he found her. Wow. Except for me liking poetry and liking what I wrote at the time because my heart was in that, look at it now, it was a joke. I mean, he was a joke. He wasn't real. He was not one of those words. he was false, fake, phony, not that person that he led me to believe that he was. So that's why I wanted to share that poem with you. And so, remember, the point of this video is, first things first, is you need to figure out, when you get out of a relationship, you need to figure out why it didn't work and what it was, even if it was good. But typically, most people get out of them because they're not good. That's the biggest reason. Once in a while, maybe just because your goals aren't the same. But you need that time to yourself to be totally alone. And I'll jump ahead and say this. This past 2 years being alone, I finally decided that that is what I needed to do. And it wasn't easy. Now it's really easy. I love it. It's good. But it was really hard. It was very hard in the beginning. It was something I just was not used to at all. Okay, I wasn't used to it. So I'm going to tell you that right now, that if you're used to doing that and you do it, you better know ahead it's not going to be easy. I mean, it's going to be tough for you. But it gets better. It always gets better. You know, I think that's why we don't do a lot of things that are good for us, because it's hard at first. It is hard. But it's always hard, and then it's good. Do you know what I mean? But it would be like somebody quitting smoking cigarettes. It's going to be hard. But then later it's good. Okay? So anyway, I will say about that relationship, that wasn't as long-term as my other ones. That was only 10 months. I mean, I had other ones after him, other longer-term relationship, on and off after that for 4 years. And the past ones, 3 years, you know, so a lot of longer-term, but, you know, break up, get back kind of things. They don't work. So, yeah, that's another thing I'd say. If you break up, go back, it's never going to work. Then it doesn't change. It gets worse. So I'll say that. But anyway, he was only a 10-monther. And he's the one that did it. Because at that time when he did it, I still thought he was a good guy. It wasn't until way after I found out otherwise. I found he had a long history string of one after another, and it's just the pattern of his life, and he's fake. So he did it in a text. Here's what he said in the text. I'm just, but then you'd have to know me. He said in a text, I'm just not feeling it for you. I'm not feeling it for you anymore. So, and it was when we were supposed to have a date or whatever, and he didn't show up, kind of thing. Totally threw me off. Like, that was totally, like, I didn't, you know, he totally threw me off, threw a loop. And the way I am is, I was so hurt, but I would never, it's just how I am, okay? I would never beg someone and say, why don't you want to be with me? I wouldn't do it. I mean, I was at least healthy enough to not care to do that, because it's like, if somebody doesn't want to be with me, which he was a bad person anyway, but I didn't know that at the time. Why would I want to be with someone that doesn't want to be with me? I wouldn't. Okay, so at the time I thought he was a good guy, and I didn't understand why he did that. So he said that in the text, and I text back, and I said, if that's how you feel, I'd have to agree. That was it. But I cried for months over that. I mean, I was like, it was like devastated, because I didn't even know what the heck happened or what I did. Why? Because he wasn't real. He was fake and not authentic. That's why. Normal people don't do that, and normal people don't behave like that. Normal people don't do that. So, okay, so I said I had other relationships after that. So what was the common denominator? Okay. And let me just tell you this so you know. These were all, when I mean clean cut kind of guy, I'm not mean if they had a tattoo. I'm not talking about that. When I mean clean cut, I mean like they had a job. They weren't like they didn't have a job. They had a job. You know, they were well kept looking. They were mannerly. They weren't like flying the F word, you know, talk, because I don't like that, okay? So they're not talking to me flying the F word, and, you know, polite, mannerly, someone you could take home to your mother kind of thing. That's all I mean by clean cut, okay? So, but anyway, so, you know, they weren't like party heads, you know, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, so here's the common traits that everyone had, all of them in my past, and then yet they were all totally different. So the common traits to look for are, when you meet them, they accelerate the speed of the relationship quickly. And most chicks like that, and I even like that, you know? It's like, I wouldn't like that now, though. Now, 2 years later, if that was happening, you know, no, I wouldn't like that. That would be a red flag to me. So, guys like that accelerate the relationship. They don't even know you. They don't know you very well, yet they are declaring, as in my poem. So, remember, I wasn't really, I said here, I was an acquaintance, I wasn't seeking, but by the end of the evening, see, it says the first evening together, they're premature in the making, and openness disclosed and risks were taking. So, early on, he appeared, he was very open, you know, talking very personal in very personal ways, like trying to establish a connection with me, okay? And it was almost like whatever I was into, he was into, kind of thing, like we had a commonality, you know, and everybody likes to have things in common. So now there's nothing wrong with that, but what I'm saying is toxic people will establish a commonality with you right away. You know, like if you love going to, I'm just making something up. If you love going to concerts, they love going to concerts. If you love working out, if they weren't into exercise, they'll be into it. Whatever you're into, they'll mirror you and be into it. And it's like you think to yourself, wow, I met somebody that just likes what I like. That's so cool, you know? So that's a big sign, is they establish intimacy that way first, very early on, and they move the relationship forward quickly, accelerate it. Like, you know, they'll be calling you all the time, quite often. I think, oh my gosh, where was my head back then? Anyway, look at it now, I'm like, my gosh. So, oh yeah, I think after a couple, 2 weeks, you know, I'm his girlfriend, he calls me his girlfriend, and, yeah, I mean, you know, like establish it. And then I think, oh boy, what things I did. I think we went to the seashore together. That was like a month later. Typically, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that now. 1 month later, we went to the seashore, and I have to admit, I had a blast. I had a great time. I mean, it was fun and exciting and romantic and all that, but in the end, it wasn't real, is what I'm getting at. I mean, you could just tell by these words. I mean, I felt like up here, you know? So, you know, I mean, I think we all like that feeling. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Everybody likes that. But the problem is they get you up here, but they're not real. Because, you know, I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of studying, and normal people that are more normal guys that aren't toxic, they take their time. They take their time. I mean, they want to know what they're getting into themselves. So they take their time. They don't call you every day. They take their time, you know, call you once a week because they're trying to get to know you too, all right? They take their time and it gradually unfolds because they're not even sure. They may think you're attractive, but they're not sure about you either. So they're trying to feel you out. This kind of a person doesn't do that. They're moving right on in quickly. And everyone I was with, they all did that. Everyone. I could get more detail, but I won't now. So I would say that's the number one red flag. Even though you like that, girls, ladies, or guys like that, because women can do the same thing. Toxic women. They'll call you all the time, texting you, and they'll compliment you. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with complimenting people. I compliment people. All right, but their compliments are not sincere. They're just manipulative. They're being manipulative to take advantage of you, and they don't mean it. So they're over the top. You know, they're over the top. They have like a means to an end. It's but they're very complimentary, and they're going to make you feel really special right away. Whereas a normal relationship, it takes its time. It unfolds gradually, that. And I know we like that, but so that's the biggest red flag that you would know from the get-go. Because as far as them being their toxic meanness or rudeness or putting you down and controlling you, manipulating you, that comes out later, you won't see that in the beginning. You won't see it. That's what you will not see. That doesn't come till way later, okay? When they feel like they have you, they really have you. Like you're really into them. You got into them, then they'll start leaking it out. It'll leak out here and there. So that's the number one. So that was the thing that every single one of them had in common, is they moved too quickly, which at the time I liked that, and established a connection with me. They were into everything I was into, and we're like a relationship right away. You know, it wasn't like now I never said, oh, we're in a relationship. They always were the one, and I just went with it, you know. I would go along with it because I'm like, oh, this is cool. That's if I was attracted to them. You know, I had to be attracted, obviously. So, anyway, I hope that helps you. And there could be tons more to share with this, but I thought I'd start with this. You know, I'm being a little real here, okay? So that's my story. That's where I've been. On my own for 2 years. It's been good. I'm learning a lot. So anyway, if you have any questions about this, let me know. And if you think you want any more videos, maybe along these lines, more on this subject, I just have to see. All right. So anyway, I'll see ya.